Hey, we are here at the Rockstar Mayhem Festival, and it's hot as fuck. And I am here with...
Paul Mazurkowitz, the drummer from Cannibal Corpse.
If that's not just the sickest thing you've ever heard. Alright, so we're going to start off our interview the normal way, with random-ass questions.
Alrighty.
So if I left your ass in the middle of the woods, do you think you'd survive?
For a few days, I think. I think I might be able to,
hold it out?
Hold out for a few days,
okay?
at least, a couple days, I'm a vegetarian, so, I'll be living off the land a little bit, won't have to worry about killing any animals or anything like that.
Cool,
so,
me too.
There you go, cool.
So what do you do when you're not on the road?
I play ice hockey.
You play ice hockey?
I am an ice hockey player, yes, I do that quite often. And I play with my daughter, so, my 3.5-year-old daughter, so how can I not spend most of my free time with her? But if you're talking exactly just what I would do for hobby, it would be ice hockey. I've been doing that my whole life. I've been skating since I was 5, so I'm a Buffalonian, so it's in us. It's in us.
So do you do this to Cannibal Corpse music, just to get that extra rage going?
To play hockey, you mean? Well, no, actually, it's a completely separate entity. When I'm out on the ice, it's just hockey, strictly hockey, and but I just love it. So it's in me. I guess I got two things that I do. I play drums and I play hockey, and that's all I've pretty much done my whole life. So I don't know what else I would do with myself if I didn't have either. So
that works.
Yeah.
So how does maintaining a home life go when you're on tour and recording?
It's tougher, of course. I think, it needs to be the right situation. It might not be for everybody. I think if, your relationship with your girlfriend or wife or whomever is pretty healthy, things can work, especially, if relationships, say, happened after, for myself, I've been married for 4 years, but my wife, which was my girlfriend at the time, knew what she was getting herself into, kind of a thing. Okay, well, I'm in Cannibal Corpse. Obviously, we go away. We do things, and that's just what you have to deal with as being a musician, entertainer. Going on the road, kind of a thing. So it's hard, of course, but you just got to do what you got to do, I guess.
Okay. What is the worst advice you have ever been given? Worst advice you could think of?
Oh gosh, that's a tough question to answer. Probably the worst advice, I guess, in a band sense. I remember early on with Cannibal Corpse, our reviews and people hated us. It was kind of like, yeah, what are you doing? You guys suck. You should quit now. So that was probably what it was. I guess in the early days, people telling us that we're terrible and we should not be playing, and we should be doing something else. So I don't know if it would be advice, so to say, or but either way, it's. Something that I guess we'll probably never forget, and something we just looked at as being like, well, everyone's got their opinion, but we're not going to quit, and here we are 20 years later on a festival of this magnitude, so fuck them.
Indeed.
That's right.
Best advice?
Best advice? Let's see. There you go. That's a good one. Well, best advice would probably be just never quit, from probably instilled from my parents, just upbringing kind of a thing, I know my dad was there with me from the beginning, say, starting hockey kind of a thing, so he was always there as some sort of a mentor, and I remember him, especially early on, growing up playing hockey, like I said, because that was earlier than, of course, playing drums, so you're, a little kid. But he always, don't give up, don't quit, I always wanted to do that. Oh, I can't do it, I'm out on the ice or whatever, I quit, I can't play, I can't. No, don't say you can't, you just try, because you'll be surprised what you can accomplish by just trying and not giving up.
Okay. What would you do if you were not the drummer for Cannibal Corpse?
Well, that comes back to, like I said, I had two interests in life, hockey being the first one because I started at such a young age, and I did play up until I was 17, in school and travel leagues and all that, and it was my life really for a long time. I was at a crossroads when I probably hit around 15, 16, music's becoming more prominent in my life, kind of a thing, you're a teenager, whatever, things are changing in that sense, so music became such a vital interest for me that I was torn, while I could possibly go on and maybe go to college or try to see what could happen with my hockey career, which is kind of like as a musician kind of a thing too, you never know, there's a lot of great athletes out there. There's a lot of great musicians. Doesn't mean you're going to so-called make it kind of a thing. So, but music took over so strongly at that point that that's all I wanted to do, and I actually stopped playing hockey for a few years and just concentrated on music. So. So it's kind of those what ifs, but that's the only thing I really ever wanted to do. So if that didn't happen, I really have no idea what I would have ended up doing. Really, there was no kind of backup plan in that sense, like academically, I mean, maybe I, probably went on to college and done something, but that's a good question that probably will never be answered.
Hey, you also mentioned earlier in the interview that you're a vegetarian.
Yes.
Are you for health reasons or for compassion reasons?
Compassion. I love animals.
Hell yes.
I love animals, and
this is my man.
There you go. I was starting to get hypocritical, really. I mean, I became a vegetarian later in life too. I mean, I would have never thought I would have been a vegetarian. I'll be 41 years old in a couple of months, and I became a vegetarian, when I was like 35, 34 years old. And if you would have told me even a year before that I'd be a vegetarian, I'll bet you $1 million. And no way. I mean, I grew up a meat eater. I love it, and but really, it's crazy how life goes and how views change and all that. And I really was starting to get so hypocritical about eating meat that I just made that decision, and the transition was like unbelievably easy. The easiest thing I ever did, which I would have ever thought that. So. Yeah, love animals, don't want to eat them anymore, and I think every creature deserves to live. And if I can at least do my part, which is what you do as a vegetarian, you're not going to save every animal in the world, but hey, you do what you can do, I guess, and that's it. So that's why I'm a vegetarian.
Cool. So, fan of Cattle Decapitation then?
Yeah, I mean they're cool. They're a cool band. I mean, not like because of what they write about, like I'm going to be an immediate fan. But they're a cool band. I mean, I don't listen to them too often, but it's cool that they're on our label, and we've done some touring with them and all that. But yeah, it's pretty cool that there is a lot of vegetarianism going on, more so than it ever has been, and in metal too, kind of a thing. Like. Chris from Lamb of God being a vegetarian, and exactly Cattle, and a bunch of bands we're touring with now. It seems like at least one member per band nowadays is a vegetarian. So that's pretty cool.
Okay. Speaking of music, what is your guilty pleasure music?
Oh,
the stuff that you really don't want anybody to know that you listen to.
And I don't want to even tell you because it's out there. I love the Presidents of the United States of America. I love them. They're awesome. My favorite band. I literally freak. I mean, it's unbelievable. I never thought, I'm like, why? But I love them. I just saw them for the first time actually in Orlando. It was not even a year ago. They rarely ever play like in the East or in the Southeast, and when they came, I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I was in my glory when I saw them live, and I love him. I love that Chris Ballou. Whatever he does, I just think he's an amazing musician, amazing songwriter. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of our fans, oh my God, the Presidents, why? It's.
Because the Kitty song is fucking sick. That's why.
Well, there you go. See, they're all sick though. I mean, I really love all the music they've ever done. Incredible to me. It's like really the one band in the last, say, 10 years or so that I can say that I actually do freak out and love, with a passion. Because I don't really have that anymore, kind of a thing.
Favorite movies?
Favorite movies. I'm another one for, I love a lot of kind of movies. I love a comedy. Probably my all-time favorite movie would be Smokey and the Bandit. I just grew up with that movie, and Jackie Gleason is so funny in that movie, and it's a classic. It's probably one of my top 5, definitely. I also love Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That's another classic comedy movie. I love all comedy. I love a lot of stupid comedy like that. But then, of course, I love the classic, the great movies. Goodfellas and Fargo is one of my favorite movies. That's a great one as well. But I would have to say Smokey and the Bandit might take the cake. So.
Favorite Disney movie? You live in Orlando, so now you really have to answer.
And I have a daughter, so that's a tough call too, because man, they've really released a lot of great ones, especially recently with the whole the Pixar thing and all that. So that's a tough call. I mean, recently, I guess just like, of course, now that I have a daughter and all that, watching maybe more Disney than an adult should be allowed to, kind of a thing. But
dude, I'm all about Disney.
No, I love them too. I love them regardless if I had a daughter or not. You know, I love animation. I love the whole technology. What they're coming up with nowadays is just unbelievable.
I'm going to Disneyland.
You have to.
This weekend.
And there you go. You have to do that. There you go. See, you have to go. I just saw Wall-E recently, actually. My daughter, we just got. That was a really good movie. I thought that was a really good movie.
Cute.
It was cute. I thought Cars was actually a really good movie as well. You know, for the classics. I mean, I like Toy Story. I think Toy Story is a great one as well. But, you know, like you said, those are all the Disney Pixar mixes. So if you're talking just straight up Disney, that's still a hard one to answer, too. You know, a lot of the Disneys are very obscure now. Or just you go, oh, yeah, I saw that. But, you know, I don't even remember because it was years ago, you know. So I'll have to stick with the newer ones. You know, I'll say Toy Story. That was one of my favorites.
All right, it is now time for random fan questions. So, this one's probably been asked 100 times, but I couldn't find any info on it. So, why did you pick Cannibal Corpse as your name?
It just sounded good. I mean, actually, Alex, our bass player, I remember when we were supposed to, you know, well, not supposed to, but we're a band now. Oh, we got a gig coming up? Well, I guess we need a name, you know. So it was just as easy as, I mean, you'd really have to ask Alex how he came up with it, but I think it was just as easy as, you know, coming up with two words, a phrase like that kind of rolled off the tongue that made no sense in a way, you know. It's like it really should go together. But yeah, I'll never forget when he goes, how about Cannibal Corpse? And we were all like, oh, wow, that's Cannibal Corpse. Holy, oh, well, think about it. I didn't have to think about it very long. I think we all went home, slept on it, and was like, yeah, of course, that's it. So it was really just as easy as just coming up with that phrase. And but like I said, Alex would be really the man to ask because he is the one that did come up with it.
Okay. All right. Another one. Mitchell from the internet would like Corpse Grinder to give him a free WoW account. How do you feel about that? Care to respond?
Yeah, sure. I think George can probably, you know, end up giving away a few accounts. He's only got like 75, I think, you know, so I think he can probably handle it, you know, so I'll ask him, Mitchell, you know, and hopefully he'll hook you up one of these days.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. How do you feel about being compared to Slayer?
Oh, that's just unbelievable. I mean, if anyone's going to, to me, it doesn't make sense. I mean, obviously, Slayer to us are the biggest influence, probably, you know, in the world, to most bands, you know, in our genre kind of a thing. I mean, it's just an incredible feeling just to be on a tour with them, you know, for the first time. I mean, unbelievable. So if anyone would ever say any of that, that's just very flattering and very just, you know, we're not worthy of that, you know, kind of that wording kind of a thing. But I mean, it's an amazing feeling just to be on this tour with Slayer. It's a dream come true for Cannibal Corpse.
I actually pulled it off the internet. They were saying Slayer or Cannibal Corpse. There's an argument. There's a debate going on.
There's no debate. There should not be a debate. It's Slayer. You know, there's Slayer. Come on, there's Slayer. I mean,
play some fucking Slayer. Is what you're telling me?
It's Slayer. Play Slayer. Slayer. That's Slayer. I mean,
KUPD gets it 100 times a day at least.
You know, they're incredible musicians. Lombardo's my idol, my god, right, kind of a thing. And all of Slayer was such a big influence on all of us growing up that it's just still amazing, you know, to think that we're on a tour with them finally. It's incredible.
All right. Cannibal Corpse met the Jonas Brothers. What would happen?
Interesting. Well, probably nothing, because they'd probably go who, and we'd go who. You know, no, I know what they look like. I mean, it would be. I don't know. I'm sure it'd be fine. It would be a little bit of a contrast there. You know, going, you know, Corpse Grinder, you know, meeting one of the Jonas Brothers or something like that. But I'm sure it would be civil and all that. We're all adults of in some extent, I guess. So it'd probably be okay.
All right. Does Jesus listen to Cannibal Corpse?
Yes, he does. Jesus listens to every band in the world. He knows he's got the biggest, you know, his iTunes library is just huge. I mean, he's got it all. So, yes, he does.
Okay, last one. What is the meaning behind Death Walking Terror?
And that is another good question. Unfortunately, geared more towards Alex again. I do come up with a lot of the titles and I do write lyrics, but unfortunately for this question, Alex wrote Death Walking Terror and he wrote the lyrics. So, I mean, I think, you know, a lot of our songs aren't really that hard to figure out, you know. I mean, most of them are pretty much, you can read the title, and if you can't figure it out from the title, you read the lyrics and you'll probably go, oh, okay. So, unfortunately, I'm not good to answer that one either, because, I mean, we have the video, so whatever the video's about is just basically some,
Well, that's actually what confused her, because she thought she knew what it was about, then watched the video, and the video had a twist.
Oh, see, then I guess it's up to interpretation then. No, but really Alex would be the one to ask, unfortunately, yes, because if it was one of my songs, I'd go, oh, okay, yeah, there you go, I can answer that, because I wrote the lyrics, but I did not. So, sorry.
Hey, anything you want to talk about, say?
Oh, well, just, thanks for the support over the years for for Cannibal Corpse, death metal. If it wasn't for the fans, we would not be here today, so we definitely appreciate that and keep it up and just, death metal forever.